April 29 to May 3 of 2013, a citizen hearing was held in which 40 witnesses from 10 countries testified for 30 hours over 5 days to 6 former members of Congress. This testimony included direct witnesses and researchers to the Roswell event of July of 1947, the tampering with nuclear weapons at our SAC bases on numerous occasions, pilot sightings, of which there are thousands now, of silver disc maneuvering close and around military and civilian aircraft, and much, much more. We are in development of a documentary, but in the meantime, we would like to get that information out by the creation of DVD and Blu-ray sets. The cost of the editing and production, though, is substantial and not part of the original budget. So we're now reaching out to the public. With your help and your funding, we can get that done quickly and get that information out and keep the pressure on the government to end the truth embargo and bring about disclosure of the ET presence. Here is some of the testimony that was presented that week at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C.
The conclusion I've come to is incredibly wild, that those in charge have been successful in keeping secret the greatest story of mankind.
The evidence is overwhelming that Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft.
The CIA guy standing next to me says, we're confiscating all this data and you're all sworn to secrecy.
They've all been studying this. They have more data than I do.
So the government has dumped disinformation and misinformation into the field for decades. They've undermined research.
I have lost faith in representative government. I truly think we're in gridlock. It doesn't work, and so we need to make a change.
I think it's ignorant of any people not to seek out what we need to know to continue the universe.
You give this committee a lot of reasons for us to say, open those files.
You're walking up to it and you touch it. What do you do? Touch it that? Do you grab it? Tell us about that.
Okay. I started doing the walk around 360 of the object. And as I came around, I seen there was an inscription on the front. And
this is what you saw, right?
That's what I saw. So I started walking around the craft, and I seen the glyphs, and as I, ran my hand from the fabric of the craft, it was smooth to touch.
You ran your hands along it?
Oh, yeah.
I believe that the time is now to lift the veil of secrecy that has shrouded this subject for over 60 years, and the subject of UFOs should now be openly accepted in the mainstream media.
They exist, they are here to save us against the insanity of our leaders.
I agree with you, they should open those Roswell files.
There is only one way to regain trust: find and tell the truth.
If it's out there, if it's real, we have a right to know.
We're going to pattern what we're doing today after a formal congressional hearing. And first of all, we have with us Congresswoman Darlene Hooley, and we have Senator Mike Gravel. We have Congresswoman Carolyn Kilpatrick, and we have Congressman Merrill Cook, Congressman Merrill Cook. And we are all retired. So among us, we have 80 years or more experience, but 80 years just on the federal level. And Roscoe and I were classmates. We have 20 years each. And I have to tell you, it is our commitment today, as if we were part of hearing in the House of Representatives. It's our commitment to listen through objective ears and to ask the kinds of questions that we think that the American people would like us to ask so that they can become better informed, because obviously there's going to be a press on this. And we would like to make the public more aware, and we would like to have a hearing that could lead possibly to legislation or policy making. So if we're objective, if we're businesslike, and we stick to the issue, I think we're going to have a very, very interesting week. And right now, though, we get to swear in the first two witnesses.
Just very quick opening remarks, and then the first panel of witnesses will sit
all right.
after us.
Okay, first we will have our opening remarks.
And initially, I think Dr. Edgar Mitchell will be brought in on Skype.
Good morning, Dr. Mitchell.
Good morning, all who welcome this meeting. And I'm speaking to Florida. Unfortunately, it's conflict, so be with you week. But for all my potential talk to about this subject, I have a former astronaut, flew to the moon on Apollo 14, and so I have a little bit of off the Earth experience. But also, I grew up near Roswell, New Mexico, a ranch boy, and the so-called Roswell incident of 1947 occurred when I was a senior in high school and getting ready to go off to college in the East. So, and I have been interested in this subject for many years. But let me set up the basic credentials. For the first time in our human history, our technology is showing us the how huge our universe, some would call it a multiverse, is, with billions and billions of galaxies and galactic clusters and stars, and many of them, and we know we've identified a few, many of them so far, that possibly could have living systems on them, living beings, and we have a history that I'm aware of, particularly starting with the Roswell incident, but even long before that we have been visited by aliens or visitors from different star systems and different planets. And of course, if we continue our endeavors, we will in due course be able to go outside our solar system as well. At the moment, our technology is not allowing us to do that, but in due course, we will be able to do that, I'm quite sure, and we must, because our sun will only last a few more billion years, and we're even doing things to it that cause it to be life on this planet to be unsustainable at the rate we're going by using up non-renewable resources and so forth. And so we have to rethink about this whole issue of our being here on this planet at this point in time, and how do we continue our life here, and how do we continue being stalwart citizens of planet Earth and keeping our civilization going, and eventually be able to leave our planet and go somewhere else and investigate somewhere else, because we're not alone in the universe. They have been coming here for a long, long time, it seems. The evidence would suggest that. We have been having visitors for a long, long time, perhaps hundreds, maybe even 1,000 years. There's some that would even say that the pyramids, both in Egypt and in South America, that aliens aided us in building those, and that seems to have a reasonable ring to it. But in any event, we're not alone in the universe, and we're only now beginning to get enough evidence through our science and our understanding of the way the universe is put together to recognize we really are alone, and that we can, in due course, just like others have, it appears, they come here, we go there. And so I think we'll have a lot of testimony here today regarding that fact, and I urge you to listen to it, and let's open this up to the larger picture and acknowledge yes, we're not alone. They are here. We can go there, and in due course we will. And for the last, I've been very interested in this for the last 16 or 17 years on the basis of speaking about it publicly. And since I went to the moon 40-some years ago, and my colleague, Gordon Cooper, also had an incident when he was at Edwards Air Force Base as a duty officer, had a UFO land while he was on duty. So there's a number of us that have had these types of experiences to say, yes, we're not alone, we have been visited, and let's go forward in understanding this phenomenon. And I hope you have a good week, and I'll stay abreast with you as long as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Edgar.
Good morning. I'm Paul Hellyer, former Minister of Defense of Canada and a long-time participant in politics and governance. Over many decades of service to the Canadian people, I've come to understand and appreciate the importance of open, transparent government and the power of truth as antidote to the many afflictions the body politic is heir to. The true currency of the 21st century will not be gold or silver or a basket of currencies, however useful they may be. It will be trust. Without that commodity, progress and right action are undermined and delayed. There is only one way to regain trust: find and tell the truth. Whether to your friends or family or to the citizens of nations, I believe this citizens' hearing serves that purpose. And like my friend Edgar Mitchell, I say without equivocation, we are not alone in the cosmos. We have neighbors. We should try to get to understand them and to cooperate with them. Thank you.
Good morning to the committee. I'm Stephen Bassett, Executive Director of Paradigm Research Group and an activist. In November of 2011, the White House issued a statement, formal written statement, through their Office of Science and Technology Policy that can be found on the internet quite easily. This statement had 3 sentences. One, I paraphrase, there is no evidence whatsoever of any life outside of our planet, or that any life outside our planet has contacted or engaged the human race. And thirdly, that the United States government, there is no credible information that it has been hiding any information about that from the American people. With all due respect to the White House and to the President, this statement is remarkable for 3 reasons. 1, it is false. 2, it is indefensibly false. But 3, and this is where it's very important, it is the first time in history that the executive branch has put its position on this matter in writing. And so there it is. That is the position of the White House. What is going to take place this week, we hope, is that a portion of the massive amount of evidence confirming the alternative to that statement, that we are in fact being engaged, is going to be presented to the American people, presented to the political media, to the Congress up the street for their consideration. We hope that the, how would you say, comparison between what is shown here and the White House's position will prompt the political media to begin to go into investigation mode, not simply to record what is going on, but to ask very difficult questions, the obvious questions of the obvious people, individuals that are known to be involved in this issue in various ways. We also hope that the Congress, which has not held a hearing on this subject since 1968, will consider this issue worthy of hearings within the House and Senate. And I can assure the House and the Senate that for every witness that appears here this week, there is 5 more behind them, and then 5 more behind them. Hundreds of individuals, many serving in our government, serving in our military, including with top security clearances, prepared to go before Congress and testify to the kinds of evidence you'll hear this week, which confirms what Edgar Mitchell said. We are not alone in the universe. We are being engaged now. The government, for national security reasons, withheld that from us during the Cold War, but the Cold War is over, and now it's time to move forward. Thank you very much.
As co-chair of this hearing, I'd like to make a brief statement. I think it was about 33 years ago, I was camping in West Virginia on a mountain 4,000 feet high. I got up in the middle of the night and went out, and I just couldn't believe what I saw. The stars looked so darn close, it looked like I could reach up and touch them. And there really was a Milky Way. I can't see it here. There's too much pollution. There's way too many lights here to see the Milky Way. We're just one star, a fairly mediocre star in the Milky Way. If the Milky Way was the United States, we're a fairly mediocre star somewhere in South Georgia. And there are a million other galaxies out there, a billion perhaps out there like ours. And you have to be very arrogant and very presumptive to believe that this, I'm a scientist. I got my PhD 66 years ago. And you have to be very arrogant and presumptive to believe that this is the only place where life exists in a universe this large. So I'm really looking forward to the testimony today. Thank you all very much for being here.